Welcome to June 8 to June 12, Day 3 of ESOL instruction for newcomers grades 6 through 8. It's your teacher, Mr. Ebeling. This presentation is based on the grades 6 through 8 newcomer ESOL June 8 to June 12 Day 3 paper packet. These paper packets can be picked up at meal distribution centers throughout Baltimore. The center closest to Highlandtown Elementary Middle School is John Rura Elementary School. The school address is 701 Rapola Street, Baltimore, Maryland 21224. This map shows the United States during the Civil War. What do you see? What do you want to know? Write or draw in the chart. When I look at this picture, I notice a map of the United States divided into 4 parts based on the state's status during the American Civil War. I wonder what aspect of the Civil War we will learn about today. Read each new word below and look at the picture to understand its meaning. Look up the word in a bilingual dictionary to write it in your language. Those words are fugitive, compromise, secede, raid, and election. These stories explain major causes of the Civil War in the United States. Read each section and examine the pictures to prepare you for the next parts of the lesson. Compromise of 1850. The Compromise admitted California as a free state, and the inhabitants of the territories of New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona, and Utah would be allowed to decide whether or not to permit slavery in their territories when they became states. Also, the Fugitive Slave Act denied captured blacks legal power to prove their status as free people. The compromise ended the slave trade in the District of Columbia. Declaration of Causes, South Carolina. In April 1852, South Carolina declared that the federal government has violated the state's rights under the U.S. Constitution. South Carolina, however, did not secede at this time. John Brown's raid. John Brown, an abolitionist, and his followers seized the U.S. Armory and Arsenal at Harper's Ferry, Virginia, killing civilians and taking hostages. In the process, Brown hoped his actions would inspire a slave rebellion. Brown and his followers were quickly killed or captured. Northern abolitionists viewed Brown as a martyr, while many Southerners viewed Brown as a criminal. Presidential election. Abraham Lincoln was elected president. Lincoln was a member of the Republican Party, which wanted to ban slavery in the territories. Many Southerners feared that Lincoln would ban slavery nationwide. The Civil War begins. On April 12 at 4:30 a.m., the Civil War began when the Confederates fired on Union-held Fort Sumter in South Carolina. Major Anderson, commanding officer at Fort Sumter, said this: "Our Southern brethren have done grievously wrong. They have rebelled and have attacked their father's house and their loyal brothers. They must be punished and brought back, but this necessity breaks my heart." Use the word bank to complete the sentences about the Civil War and the United States. Those words are free, capture, armory, president, abolish, and fired. 1. In the Compromise of 1850, the territories of New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona, and Utah would be allowed to decide to be blank or slave states. 2. The southern slaveholding states benefited from the Fugitive Slave Act, which required U.S. Marshals to assist in the blank and return of runaway slaves. 3. John Brown led a raid on the blank and arsenal at Harper's Ferry, Virginia, in the hopes of causing slaves to rebel. 4. Abraham Lincoln was elected blank of the United States in 1860. The southern states feared he would blank slavery. 5. Early in the morning of April 12, 1861, Confederate forces blank on Fort Sumter in the Bay of Charleston, South Carolina. The Fugitive Slave Act required marshals to police to return slaves to plantations in the South. Was it right or wrong to return slaves? What would you do if you were a marshal in 1850? I think it was right to return slaves because blank, or I think it was wrong to return slaves because blank. If I was a marshal in 1850, I would blank. Today's objective was to identify major causes leading to the Civil War in the United States. Write your answers to the questions below. 1. What is one thing you learned from this lesson? 2. What is one thing you are still curious about? Final steps for Mr. Ebeling. 1. If you are in my Google Classroom, you can either send me a picture of your completed work there or edit the PDF that is in Google Classroom. 2. If you are unable to join Google Classroom, take a picture of your completed packet and text it to me. If you do not have a packet, write your answers on your paper and then text it to me. My classroom code for Google is XUZFSOB. My number to text me is 410-645-0593, but please do not text after 8 p.m. My email is taebeling@bcps.k12.md.us. This is the end of this presentation. Please complete as much as the packet as you can if you have one. More presentations will be posted as they are created. Remember to be safe, stay 6 feet away from people when you are away from your home, and wash hands as often as you can. Goodbye for now, Mr. Ebeling.